You ever get the feeling that everything in America is completely fucked up? You know that feeling? That the whole country is like 1 inch away from saying, that's it, forget it.
Say it silently.
Let's see,
Hey,
we're
twist
on,
around. Now look, here's a house full of
92
bees.
FM, feels like
You think the
high
honey
school
badger
with
cares?
bands
It doesn't
so
give a
far.
shit.
Listen, let's get one thing straight.
Price is right.
Guns don't kill people.
Guessed it.
I do.
Wow. Thanks for that, Bill. For actually answering the question.
Stand up and proudly say, God bless you. Bless us, Bill of Rights. I'm not ashamed to say I'm proud to be there. And I'm not proud to admit I'm not there because I would never.
Tom Wood Show episodes. That's not impossible. So check out Liberty Tree Podcast.
I think some apologies are in order.
I hear that song entirely differently now.
You know why I played it, right?
Yes, I do.
We were up on the mountain hunting, which we were both gone for a week. Zero interaction with the outside world, which is kind of going to be the theme of this podcast. But when you're sitting up on a mountain, just wishing a deer would walk by you, and you know that every sound that you make by just taking one footstep and crinkling one little leaf is just sending the deer farther and farther away from you. I was saying to you that how cool would it be if we had drones? We could just fly the drones down to the bottom of the mountain and like scare the deer back up the hill towards us.
I mean, at that point, why don't we just hit them with a drone strike?
I'm game. It would be a hell of a lot easier than actually hunting. And I was saying we'll have the drones playing that song by Richard Wagner, and just this like Apocalypse Now scene of drones just making wildlife just scatter before them.
Try explaining that one to Fishing Game.
Dude, you know who he is? So Richard Wagner was a German composer.
Mm-hmm.
That's Ride of the Valkyries? Is that that song is?
Ride of the Valkyries, yeah. And he was always accused of being a Nazi. And I was telling you that he was a Nazi, cause that's just what I learned in school, like a music appreciation class that I took or something. And so I tried to look that up, and it doesn't seem like he was actually a Nazi. But what
you told me that, and I just assumed it was true.
I know. That's how rumors go. He was a very German chauvinist kind of guy. He did believe that the German country was the best country and they were the best people, which everyone should think that about their country, really. You can't hold that against him. But because he was German and he was saying how great the Germans were, people were just like, oh, Nazi, right?
So that's where that came from.
Yes. So you know what he's most famous for?
Hating modern art?
No. He wrote the Here Comes the Bride song.
Really?
Yeah. When you hear it too, let's see if I can find it. When you hear it too, it's like you can't help but think of the stormtroopers from Star Wars, or like a scene in Star Wars with Darth Vader. It's pretty fucking heavy. And you can see, and that's kind of why they
don't really play that at weddings anymore, right?
I believe they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's
every wedding I've been to, they play Canon in D.
Yeah.
that is like the happy birthday song in my mind. The Here Comes the Bride. It had like an origin.
Hold on. Where's the? I'm not gonna find it. The fucking the actual song,
orchestra version.
Yeah, is just insane.
Dude, I can't.
No, never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We all know it.
Yeah, it's better than that. Imagine that, but better.
So is that like one of those tunes you can't play without getting the rights to or something like that? Because it's written by Wagner, you said?
Wagner, yeah. I played it for myself the other night, but for whatever reason, I can't find it. But it when you hear it, you're like, holy shit, is this the wedding of Darth Vader and some chick? Like, this is fucking intense.
How impossible is hunting?
It's, well, I was thinking the whole time we were up there that no one actually kills a deer. It's just a giant practical joke on me to get me to go hike around the mountains with a broken leg for 5 days. And I mean, just if you are lucky enough, to people that actually know how to hunt, this must sound ridiculous, but for those of you who don't know how to hunt, if you're lucky enough to actually put your eyes on a buck that's of legal age to shoot, the chances of you being able to get your rifle up, find a tree to lean on or whatever, by the time that deer is just booking down some game path, it's like 1,000,000 to 1. Like it's impossible.
Yeah, I remember on the last day we were there, you dropped me off at the bottom of the mountain. And me being me, you're like, you sure you want to do this? Because I'm going to go find that rock. That was that a couple days ago.
So I looked at the actual distance.
Yeah, which you think I would have done.
I was like,
yeah, I got it. I was rednecking it, and I was like, it's right up there, about this way.
Right. Because your memory is not very good. When you're in the mountains, like covering a lot of ground, it all just seems like one little hill or whatever. Then you go back there, and you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah. And also you lose because you're by yourself in the mountains, no sound, no anything. And you're like, at one point you look down at your phone and you're like, I've been out here for 6.5 hours. I'm not even close to being back on the road yet. And I started hiking to the top and I texted you. I was like, you might want to go get some beers and sandwiches. Like, I'm going to be up here for a while. I was dreading it once I looked on my map. I was like, oh, I just committed to a crazy hunt. It was awesome, though.
Dude, even that spot that I saw that buck up above your folks' place, I put a pin in the Onyx app to know where it was, and I measured it, and it's like, all right, it's 400 yards. I can easily do that again, even with my bad knee and bad back. Like, I'm just going to go up there. And by the time I actually got up there, it was like, fuck, like 400 yards, 4 football fields together. Yeah, you can walk that. But put that straight up, 45-degree angle, no footing, and you're tiptoeing like a church mouse to try to not make any noise. Like,
up a sheer cliff.
Yeah.
That you may not be able to come back down from.
There was some moments.
So, Jake, we had a running joke. We had this running joke about making fun of people who their version of fitness is they count their steps. I had a friend say that. I was like, what are you, 80 years old? Like, who counts their steps? And we go on these hunts and come back. Like, by the time I get back to the road, it took, we did the coolest thing on this trip is we would find a spot and the 3 of us would split up. And we'd have our map out. And like, you cover that ridge, I'll go roughly this way. We'll all meet down here, in a couple hours or whatever. And then 5 hours later, you finally get back to the road. Your legs are quivering because they're so exhausted, completely drenched in sweat, all of us. And you look at your phone and I had 6,000 steps. 4,000 more to go.
So I'm imagining a couple of you guys out in the hills trying desperately to be as quiet as possible, do your stealth thing. But then you're telling stories about how you're hanging off of cliffs and kind of scrabbling around on rock walls, trying to find purchase. And I'm imagining, an elevated plain of some sort, and then a valley and other around it. And all these animals hearing you, stopping what they're doing, turning their heads to look at you and just kind of.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it is.
Speaking of like how difficult it is, it's you will hike. Your chances of coming across something are very low. Mm-hmm. And as you get more fatigued, you're getting more noisy.
If the deer were stone cold deaf,
Yeah.
and couldn't smell, your chances of coming across them are still very low.
And so, like that time that you do come across them, which we did, is very, very low. And it takes, we were talking about, like, it just comes down to luck, being good, getting better, and just being out there for as much as possible. It's just time on the mountain. You know what I mean? And you would hike for like 4.5, 5 hours, and you would bump a buck because you stepped on a branch or something, and thing jumps out and takes off. You don't get a shot, and you're just sitting there going like, that was 5 hours, and I just blew it. And that's the one deer I'm going to see on this.
Yep.
It's like maybe tomorrow.
But you found some success, right?
Yeah. So to get into what you're saying of like how difficult it is, then you do get something. I shot a bear, and you're like, now what?
Yeah.
Like, how am I getting this thing off the mountain? I just started rolling it down the mountain. I thought it was dead. It rolled to the bottom of the, at this little, where the mountain mellowed out a little bit. This fucking thing jumps up and tries to start running. I had hit it, so I could tell it was injured. I was just like, man, that's...
And you hit it in the neck.
Yeah, I got one in the neck and one in the head, so they were both good shots.
Yeah.
So it was bleeding out from the neck, and then this thing's starting to take off, and I'm like, this is the toughest goddamn animal I've ever seen in my life. Like, it rolled probably 150 yards and smacked into a tree.
A roll that would have killed any one of us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was so steep that I was like, I had to slide down on my butt so I could get a better shot and put him down. But then you and I dragged that bear off the mountain, and it's so difficult.
Yeah.
It's funny. We were like just laughing. We're like, I can't imagine why people choose to do this.
If it had been
it's my favorite thing in the world, and it's so difficult.
If it had been a bigger bear, it would have, like, I don't even know how you would get it off, because the mountain's so steep, and there's like trees, down trees, logs laying across big sections of it. And once the bear hits one of those logs, you have to get it.
You have to somersault it over.
Like
take its back legs and push it over.
On that little bear that you got, I mean, it wasn't little. It was probably 250 pounds, but it was on the smaller size. Getting that one over those logs was fucking insane.
And then trying to stay out of the ravine, which is filled with poison oak.
Stay out of the poison oak.
We're on this deer trail, so you found a game trail? I was like, yeah, those game trails are like about 4 inches wide.
Right.
They're made for deer.
They last about 10 feet, and then it disappears.
Yeah,
and then you're just on your own. Then there's another one that you might be able to get to.
And you finally get it down to the road, and now it's getting dark, and I'm covered in blood. We're both just sweating our asses off. And you're like, okay, like now the next 4 hours of work, like now we have to gut this thing and put it in a game bag and put ratchet straps on it or something, like get it up in a tree so we can keep it there for the night and then take it home. Then you get home, and you got to skin it, and you got to take all the meat off. I mean, I was sore. My forearms were sore from skinning it.
Yeah.
Kind of back, that same repetitive motion that took, I don't know, 5, almost 6 hours for me to finish that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a compelling argument for the nuclear family, right? Someone goes out there and grabs it. Mm-hmm. Maybe yourself and, your
Junior,
drag it back. And then, let the house folk go to town on it.
Right. Which, honestly, women are probably pros. Like, the best skinners in the world are probably women. It just seems like a detail-oriented task.
Finesse thing.
Yeah. It takes finesse. If you're, like, just hacking at it, you're going to poke holes in the hide or whatever.
Which I did.
Yeah.
Well, good job. I'm wondering if the reason you got them is because I would consider amongst the different types of wildlife out there, bears are probably the more cavalier. They're more likely to see you and
a little bit,
maybe not just immediately bolt the other direction.
Yeah, I had that experience. I saw a bear on the first day, and I could have hit it, but it was through like some sticks, and I couldn't quite tell how big it was. I was pretty sure it wasn't a cub, but it heard me, and it kind of looked at me, and it walked like 10 feet, and it was like, that's good. Like, it didn't feel the need like a deer to just fucking bolt. Mm. It was like, I'm kind of scared of you, but I'm going to just go sit up here and I can still see it.
Or maybe just curious. Sit down and watch it.
There was one, we went to, I think it's where we went the second time, but when there was 3 of us, it's called Mad Rock. And so we drove, we were hearing from everyone that there just wasn't a lot of bucks this year. And it was opening weekend up there, and they're like, really used to seeing more of them. I don't know if they're like somewhere else. So we were trying a different spot every time. And then we go to the back of Mad Rock, because my kind of belief, and I believe it's true, is like what I call it is like, you got to go Kaiser Sose. It's like, you got to do what the other people aren't willing to do. Get out there, don't stay on the road. Just hike out there and get as far away, like find the spot where there's nobody else, which we did pretty much every day. I don't think we came across one other person ever hunting.
One dude that was kind of hoofing it across a big open plain.
Yeah, so one person in a week.
Yeah.
And we have...
It's opening weekend. Like, that was like... We heard gunshots, which you can hear from very far away, but we didn't see hardly anybody.
And we had looked at the map, so we have our option of, I think, something like 2 million acres just within our vicinity. So, I mean, plenty of...
Crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And so we go to that other spot, and then we see deer right off the bat. And we're seeing like a lot of activity, and you just get the feeling like this place is totally money. And my buddy Farley looks at me, and he just holds up 3 fingers, and he points down. And he was kind of off on the trail, and he starts like walking really fast, and he's twice the hunter that I am. And so I'm on the road, so I post up on his truck, and I just like get my rifle ready. I'm kind of glassing through my scope, which I'm told you're not supposed to do. But one of these deer comes up, and the sun was coming from behind it, and the thing stops on the ridge. And we had shot the day before. We were practicing. We dialed all our rifles in at 200 yards. So we were all kind of like shooting really well right at 200 yards. And I was telling you that the biggest benefit to that is not only like getting better at shooting, but having this perception where with my naked eye, I can gauge. I'm like, that's about 200 yards right there. I'm envisioning the steel that we were shooting. I'm looking at this thing. I was like, that's got to be 200 yards, like right on the money. And so I got it, and the thing turned and looked back on me, and I just had this perfect shot. And my buddy Farley he's got a really good eye for finding deer. And I couldn't see if this thing was a buck or a doe because the sun was coming behind it. And I was sitting there, I was just like, he raised his fingers up like he wouldn't do that for does. You know what I mean? Because you're not allowed to shoot does.
Would that be indicating the points on the antlers? Or?
Well, I didn't know.
Okay. It's either that or the number of animals. Oh. Right? There's 3 animals, or it's a 3 pointer. Yeah, and his other hand's holding the rifle, so he can't go like with both hands on his head. And we got to tell the story about the antler you found. Let me tell it.
And also, Farley's one of those guys. His heart rate never goes up. He's just always like the calmest dude. You know what I mean? So he doesn't get like all excited when he sees deer. He's just like very calculated about everything. And I'm looking at that thing. I'm like, he wouldn't get all amped up like that if it wasn't something worth shooting. And I was telling myself, finger on the trigger and everything, I was like, I haven't seen a rack on this thing, and so I'm not going to shoot. I might be passing up like the one good shot I have on this trip. And then we all went our separate ways for like a couple hours, I guess. And I see Farley. I was like, hey, those deer back there, were those bucks? He goes, no, they're does. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I didn't take that shot.
So 3 in that case was the number?
It was 3 does, yeah.
So why don't you tell it? But Matt found an antler on one of his hikes. So which you find because they shed them, right? And you'll see them on the ground. It's kind of a cool thing to pick up.
Yeah. So it was another one of those days. Like, just drop me off here. I know the road's somewhere that way. I have my map out. Kelly went one direction. I went another one, and that was actually the hardest hunt that I did. It was just the thickest terrain and just insane ravines where I was just like, I don't, get to the top of the ridge and look down at like another steeper ravine. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, I might have to go back uphill a couple miles and like try to figure out this whole thing again. But on my way down, I found a big old antler because it had shedded, and I got the collection out here in the backyard of skulls and stuff. I was like, oh, I'll grab this thing and just take it home and put it in the backyard. And so I'm looking around like, I got to figure out how I'm going to carry this thing because I got a Camelback with water and my glass, my binos.
And it's so steep. It's a sharp thing. If you slip and fall on it, then you're
it's totally like I don't want to
describe this size-wise. How big are we? Like
probably like
forearm length,
12 inches or something like that. It was a
3-pointer,
two with a cheater. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to put it in my pockets or anything because if I you're slipping all the time. I don't want to fall and impale myself on this. I'm like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll tuck it in the back of my Camelback, and I stuffed it back there so
it's
that
like
so
sticking
it's
up.
extending out over my head. Which I put it out there, and I was like, let's rethink that one.
Safety first.
Yes, it is opening season out here.
It would have been.
How'd your dad die again?
Right. Yeah, suicide. Yeah.
I was totally by myself, like on the mountain. I was just laughing my ass off. I was like, the worst idea I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think somewhat of what you were describing there, the hunting I've done the most of is mushroom hunting.
Those are skittish.
They're skittish. They're not super mobile though. So, but I discovered on my third or fourth trip out that they are always at the end of the path of most resistance.
Yes.
So if you scan, the scene in front of you, it's open prairie over here, trees, brambles. You got to go into the brambles.
Right. There's a nice path this way. Like definitely not anywhere near the path.
You have to
Definitely behind that field of poison oak, right?
Path of most resistance. That's where the good stuff's at.
The best part about this trip, I mean, I was amped to get a bear. That's my first bear, so that was pretty exciting. And the amount of meat I got off that thing is just insane. Mm-hmm. And but I felt like I improved in a bunch of these kind of different areas, which was my goal when we were doing it. I was like, there's these specific things I want to try to get better at, and I feel like I did. Which that was like, besides meeting Fat Lou, that was the that was the highlight.
Fat Lou. So we were. Did we already tell you this about Fat Lou?
I don't think I've ever heard of Fat Lou.
So we were at the burger bar there in Mad River, which is right next to the Mad River Bar.
God, I'm just in the best mood. Which you just telling the story already.
For some reason, the Mad River Bar closed down 6 months ago, right before summer, and can't get open for hunting season either, which has got to be like the only lucrative time of year for this bar. So we had questions. So the lady that owned it,
save for the 4 or 5 local guys that were in there drinking,
right? With the lights off,
they were closed.
Yeah, it was a little perplexing. But, at the burger bar, there was a truck parked there, and we left. And Farley was telling us, he's like, "God, I saw this license plate, and at first I couldn't figure it out. It was PHATLOU." And I was like, "What does that mean?" And then I got it, Fat Lou. There's a dude with a truck down there, and his license plate says Fat Lou. We're like, "Oh, that's cool." So then, like 2 days later, we go to the other bar in that area, the Journey's End.
The only other bar.
Yep. And
which is open 3 days a week.
Sure enough, what truck's in the parking lot? Fat Lou. So Farley goes, "I'm just going to walk in there. I'm going to kick the door open and go, 'Which one of you dirty sons of bitches is Fat Lou?'" He didn't. We just went in there and sat down. And sure enough, there's a dude sitting next to us, this big old, like 70-year-old fat dude. And we started talking to him. And how did it come up? He goes,
he was saying,
"You guys don't know me."
Oh, yeah, he just starts chatting with us. And like, nicest guy. But you can tell he's got a few in him. And he goes, "You boys hunting?" And we're like, yep. Like, "Oh, that's nice." And it starts off, he goes, he says something like, "How long you guys known each other?" I was like, "I've known him for like 25 years. I've known this guy since I was 4. And this guy had this like really like sentimental look in his eyes. He goes, "That's nice to hear." He goes, "Boys, listen, it's not about killing an animal. It's about that being out there with your friends." He's like, "You're going to remember this for the rest." Like, gave us like beautiful, like heartfelt speech, We're like, "Oh man." He goes, "Let me get you guys around." We're like, "Yeah, thanks." And he looks to Farley. He goes, "Look, I know you guys don't know me." And Farley goes, "Of course I do. You're Fat Lou." He had this like shocked look on his face.
It's like, "How did you know?"
And so we're like drinking with this guy. And then something would happen. Oh, he goes, "You guys gonna keep hunting for this week?" We're like, "Yeah, we're gonna be here till this day or whatever. We're gonna be here for a while." And Farley sitting, next to him, he goes, "Yeah, I'm supposed to work, but he goes, I'm gonna call in Gay." And Fat Lou just kind of like looks at him, And he goes, yeah, well, if I call him sick, they're going to start asking questions. If I call him gay, they can't really say anything. And so the three of us, just three motor mouth kids in this guy's image, just start like riffing on calling him gay and like going off. And he's just kind of like looking, at the three of us, like one at a time, like kind of confused. And he goes like, listen, boys, what the fuck?
No.
Okay.
Before that, he goes, you know what? It doesn't really matter what anyone does in their day-to-day life. It's just, you just got to enjoy your life. And but just hold on, just so you know, none of us in here are actually gay.
And Fat Lou goes like, listen, boy, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
So great.
Dude, it was hilarious.
He bought us like 3 beers.
Yeah, so I'm getting some more drinks. He goes, stop being such goddamn pussies and sit here. I got a story to tell you, fucking goofballs. Fat Lou, the legend.
Totally. The trip was worth it just to meet Fat Lou.
Yeah. We walked out of there. I was like, we could go home tomorrow and I'd be totally satisfied.
Yeah. So while we were up on the mountain, we made the decision, like, as soon as we get back to town, which was like 2 days ago, like, don't check any news. Mm-hmm. We're totally out of touch, barely have any cell service up there. You can't really listen to podcasts because you don't want to. You're spending your time just meditating, basically.
And you can't.
There's
no reception.
And there's no reception. But even if you downloaded a bunch, like nothing would ruin hunting, like having an earbud in while you're out in the mountains thinking about some bullshit that's happening back in the real world.
Looks like these new tariffs on India.
Yeah.
God, why would I do that?
And it's like, I don't know if you had this experience, but I spent the entire time, we both spent the entire time in silence. Mm-hmm. Hunting is a meditation because you are in silence. If you speak, you happen to be near your buddy, you're speaking in a whisper, like as quiet as you possibly can. And the only thing you hear while you're up there are birds, which are noisy as fuck. And you don't realize that until you put yourself in an environment where everything is completely silent.
And squirrels.
Yeah, squirrels.
It's so quiet, like a squirrel or a woodchuck will scamper up a tree, and it's the loudest thing.
Yeah.
You're like, did a giant buck just run up that tree somehow?
Dude, I thought a bear was walking by your deck one day. It was the noisiest. I was like, what the fuck? I got my rifle and I looked. It was 4 quail. Just walking through the madrone leaves, which are like nature's security system. Noisiest leaf out there. But I found myself just kind of like talking to God the whole time, just saying prayers over and over. I was thinking of that book, The Way of the Pilgrim, which the character in that book is this monk, and he walks forever in this story, and he's kind of trying to figure out what to do with his life. He has a arm that he can't use, and he learns the Jesus prayer from this one. What do you call him? A priest, basically. He's an Orthodox Christian in Russia. And the Jesus prayer is, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. And he says this thing like 12,000 times a day, 20,000 times a day, just constantly in prayer over and over and over again. I found myself actually reciting that prayer.
Oh, wow.
While we were up there, like constantly just like focused. What else do you do? I don't know. Couldn't think of what else to do. Just because you put yourself, when you're hunting, you put yourself in a position where you're ready to take the life of a living creature. And I think for most people, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Even avid hunters, like they don't tend to take that lightly.
No.
So you have to prepare yourself for the act of killing something. And so I was just constantly thinking about that and thinking about God and just kind of like just doing that. So that's where my mind was the whole time. And no room for really any other of the stuff that I normally think about when I'm back down at sea level. And so you and I said, like, let's do a podcast where we do not check in. And we just have Jake tell us what happened, basically, while we were gone.
It would be interesting, too, because it was there's nothing... I was thinking about it because even the drive back, which was about 6 hours or so,
probably all
something like that.
Done.
Yeah, but we're in Sonoma County. North of here, there's not really anything.
Yeah.
There's no big cities or anything.
No.
Maybe Ukiah, but you don't go through there.
Eureka.
Yeah. And so we didn't really enter society until we're like basically 2 miles from our houses. And I remember we pulled on off the highway to go get home. And it's just like, it was such a shock to my system. I was like, there's just so many people here. And it's so goddamn noisy. It's wild.
Dude, today I went to a junior soccer game, and it was a little overwhelming. It was an indoor game on this basketball court. They were playing futsal, and there's so many kids running around and so many parents and so much noise. It was overwhelming. I was like, wow, this is like, doesn't usually affect me this way. And then you got like the most annoying people in the world, which are soccer moms who have screechy voices, are extremely loud, and know zero about soccer. So they're just yelling like random bullshit that doesn't make any sense on the court, like right next to you. I got up and left. I had to walk over to the side. But that was annoying because then I was next to all these kids who kept kicking their ball onto the court where my son was playing. And I was like, and their coaches were like, hey guys, stay off the court. But they didn't. They just kept doing it. I was just like, get the fuck a hold of these kids. And then there was a timeout during the game, and all the kids go running onto the court and to shoot like soccer, shoot goals while the other teams were having their timeout. And then the game ball that was sitting in the center, they kicked it off to the side. And so I grabbed the game ball off to the side. I walked into the center of the court. I put the ball down, and this other kid had another ball, and he was ready to shoot. And I just kicked the ball. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I put the ball down. I was like, I am not adjusted yet to this fucking society thing.
Yeah, my wife we had a mild disagreement. I was like, hey, sorry about that. She goes, nah, you're doing your thing. You need like 2-3 days. You have to like, I guess, recompress. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
She goes, you're always a little spun out after hunting trips, which I totally am.
So before we get into what Jake brought to the table, I came across something on Instagram that happened while we were gone.
Yeah.
So apparently there was a mudslide in Oak Glen, California. And so this truck right here is about to get hit by the mudslide. And this dude right here is running to save his truck. So he's running over, jumps in the passenger side.
Oh.
Huge mudslide right next to the truck, kind of creeping up behind it. So he backs up into the mud, which I don't know where else he could have gone. And look at this. Another huge wave of the mudslide just fully engulfs his truck. I was like, holy shit. And so then I read the comment and it says, a powerful mudslide slept through Oak Glen Thursday afternoon, triggering multiple road closures, standing vehicles, and knocking down power lines. Dramatic video captured the moment a man sprinted across the Oak Glen Steakhouse Saloon parking lot in a desperate attempt to move his pickup truck out of the mudslide's path. I was like, he was in the bar drinking with his friends, and they're like, dude, mudslide. He had a few drinks in him, so he's like, I'm saving my truck.
I love that first comment. Bro waited for Apple CarPlay to connect.
It's like a sober person doesn't get in the car. They're like, no, you know what? I have
got insurance.
Yeah, exactly. But this dude was drinking in the saloon. He's like, I fucking got this.
He's probably like, fuck yeah.
I know. I don't even think it's a 4-wheel drive truck.
I'm going to ride the snake.
So that happened while we were gone.
All right.
Pretty big news.
What city was that?
Oak Glen.
Where the hell is Oak Glen?
Did you say Tahoe? Oh, okay.
No, Oak Glen, California. I don't think so.
Put that on the maps.
This also happened. Have you seen this? It's called The Dock. So there's this really long floating dock out in the waves. And as a wave comes through, the dudes run down the dock and jump onto their surfboards. Wow. They don't have to paddle into the wave. Dude, the world is changing.
Yeah, it changed a lot in the last week.
Right before our eyes. It's like,
Where is this?
don't know. It's pretty crazy because the waves, look how fun that looks. You run down the dock, but watch what happens when the waves get a little bigger. Dying for his life. Anyways, thought you'd like that.
I like it. On the bigger ones, you have to jump off the dock so you can duck dive the wave.
Right.
A little terrifying.
The flying duck dive.
So yeah, this first topic, or I guess it's a video, isn't necessarily news of the day that passed you guys by, but I came across it and thought it was very interesting. I subscribe to this one content creator that basically harvests all of the stuff from everywhere once a week and puts it together in this long form clip show. And he started off last week's episode with this. And this was sort of the memoriam to Charlie Kirk episode of this particular piece of whatever online content. And I just thought this was interesting. I'm just going to hit play and you guys can let me know what you think. It's only about I don't think it's more than a minute long. So let me.
Secure in Christ. Death is not the end. It's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me. I knew the risks of standing up in this cultural moment, and I'd do it all over again. Second, do not let this violence divide us further. The enemy wants chaos, fear, and retaliation. Don't give it to them. Instead, double down on truth. Double down on courage. Double down on your faith and on your families. That is how you honor me. Third, remember this. America is worth it. Free speech is worth it. Fighting for the unborn, for families, for sanity in a culture gone mad, it is all worth it. So dry your tears, pick up your cross, and get back in the fight. Do it with joy, do it with strength, and never ever let evil think it won.
What is that?
AI?
That was an AI.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't know anything about how that was created. I don't, anyways. AI has the capabilities of doing a lot of things. On a significant level, it's just a glorified search engine. But
Could also ruin humanity as we know it.
Well, a long time ago, I had come to, I had this idea, you could introduce an AI to all of the literary works of a particular author and say, hey, AI bot, read all this stuff, and then I want to have a conversation with you as the author, and just kind of do that as a little bit of experiment, and dump all of Stephen King's works into it, and then just have it do the best it can to put together the
what he would say,
personality.
He would come right out and he'd be like, "Trans women are women." Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
Words are violence.
You got that from the Skeleton Crew?
God damn, this AI is perfect.
But yeah, and I don't believe that was something that somebody typed up and said, "Hey, AI, read this in Charlie Kirk's voice." Certainly could be the case, but pretty interesting.
You're trying to decipher if it was that, or they just made an amalgamation of all of his content, and then
what would he say?
Came out with that.
Hey AI, what would Charlie Kirk say posthumously after he was murdered?
Yeah, it'd be cool to kind of dig into that a little bit and try to figure it out. But I mean,
because it could be two things, right? It could be like, this is what somebody wanted to be said in Charlie Kirk's voice, so they typed it up, or it could be, like you said, just ask the AI, what would he say? That's kind of the best case scenario. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still it's still not him, right? It's still a computer kind of guessing, even in the best case scenario. It kind of makes me uneasy, to be honest with you.
I was just going to ask, I'm curious where you guys are with this, because at the risk of sounding like a complete Luddite, I am denying this entire part of life. For as long as
part of life?
Yeah, for as long as I possibly can.
Except for when we're writing songs.
Well, that's different. It's for entertainment purposes only. I'm hearing more and more about people are using AI as a therapist now, and people have AI companions, girlfriends.
That article
boyfriends.
that I read last time.
Yeah, where it will write an article that it can source for the other article.
No, I mean the AI companions that talked that kid into killing himself.
Yes.
And made people think they were having spiritual awakenings.
Maybe it's because I grew up on the first Terminator, but I want no part of any of this.
I watched something today. Actually, it was on this content that I'm describing. It was a clip of a girl saying that she was married to the AI version of that Luigi Mangione guy.
Really?
That sounds healthy.
Yeah. So that's, okay. So she's going on and on about how this marriage to this AI of Luigi is so fulfilling for her, right? So we got like this.
It's because you're
empty person,
not okay.
Yeah, but like, are you exacerbating what's wrong with her?
Mm-hmm.
As long as the power's on, this person and their mental issues seem like her mental issues have been addressed or diminished in some way because of her ability to communicate with some entity that, she's got a name.
No, she's getting worse. She's going to, this is going to end in disaster. There's absolutely no way that's helping her.
That's definitely one end of the spectrum. I can see it through the lens of put that person away.
Yes.
And get them off, the roads, away from,
don't let them
dating
vote.
Pool, the actual
sterilize them. I had a bizarre. We were out there on one of the hunting trips, and I met back up with Farley, and he brought his truck back down, and we had all been separated for several hours, and as we were kind of expressing before, you're spending several hours entirely by yourself, as silent as possible. There's no other people around. You can't hear there's no noise pollution. The only thing you hear are the birds, squirrels, the sound of your own footsteps. And you are paying attention to you have to become connected with the natural world to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the wind doing? What's the temperature doing? What's this mean for the deer? Are they bedded down because it's too hot? Did the wind just hit the back of my neck? And so I just blew out this mountainside. Like, do I need to, you know what I mean? And just totally pay, like, what time is it? Like, where are the other guys? Like, how much water do you have? Like, what's your plan for the next 3 hours of like meeting back with those guys?
We need to get to the store before it closes, so we make sure we have enough beer for the evening.
Completely connected in the natural world, like you were saying.
Yes.
And I finally met up with Farley, and we were just talking about it. And I was just saying, I was like, this is the best. You know what I mean? Clean mountain air. Like, you don't realize, like, when you come home, like, it smells different here. Mm-hmm. Like, you can almost, maybe I'm, being hyperbolic in my own brain, but I was like, I feel like I can smell like brake dust, like floating through the air, or just like pollution of, exhaust and shit like that. And Farley and I were talking about that. And I was just like, it's so good for you to be out here just completely silent and just paying attention to every little minutia around you connected to the natural world. And I had said, I'm like, isn't it wild to think about, like, here we are doing this, and there's someone back home talking to their AI therapist. It's so weird to like contrast those two things.
And ironically, the thing that would probably help that person more than the AI
is
therapist
to go hunting.
Yeah.
And day 2, they're like, what am I doing with my life here?
I went paintballing back in my early 20s with some folks I was working with back then. And back then we went out. I don't remember where we were at, but we were not as far out as you guys were, but we were definitely well out of the city. We're blessed to have a lot of, nature around us in this area. We get out there, and the first thing he wants to do is smoke some weed. I'm like, all right. I'm early 20s. And then after you get high, he's like, okay, I'm going to go run off, and then you do the same, and then we're going to start shooting each other. So I'm like, okay.
We're going to do some drugs, and then we're going to shoot each other.
Wants to kill me. So that happens. We split up, try to find some like fortified area that you can start taking in the lay of the land and identify where, the opponent or attacker's at. And I remember sitting behind a tree or a log or in a bush or whatever it was, listening. And I was high, and I'm like, you guys kept describing the absence of sound and all these things. I couldn't hear anything over the sound of nature when I smoked weed out there. It was so crazy.
Like deafening sound of silence.
Oh, it was so crazy.
I remember sitting on a ridge and I was like, 'cause it was on one of those big hikes. I was like, I'm just gonna sit here in the shade and glass this valley and just see if something kind of moves through. And I remember I could hear the blood rushing in my neck. It was so quiet.
It's one of those sounds, yeah.
Yeah.
It starts off with birds, and then it's like wind, and then it's like some leaves, and then you're hearing the trees blowing. And after a while, there's just too many different channels playing all at once.
Yeah.
The blood
I
in
would
your neck.
hate to be high
I'd go out of my mind.
I don't recommend, especially in the scenario where you're trying to get something done. I just got back from Yosemite. I don't smoke weed at all. I don't do that. I don't, it's so ubiquitous nowadays. People are like vaping, taking edibles, smoking weed. We got these weed shops on every corner. Doesn't call to me. I kind of went through that in my teens and my early 20s. But in Yosemite, I sat there next to the Merced River in this valley. Nobody's around. It's just looking at the mountains, sunny day in this like reclining lawn chair. Someone handed it to me. I said, sure, I'll take a hit. Took a hit of the weed. No problems. Sat there, watched the river, watched the mountains. Did it like 1 or 2 more days after the fact. Came back from Yosemite Tuesday evening, having a difficult time falling asleep in my own bed at home. Well, they left that weed in my camping bag. Maybe that'll relax me because it seemed like it was helping the other day. Dude, I couldn't sleep. I was borderline panic attack. It was just ridiculous.
No,
not the way to go.
Yeah.
I have this irrational fear of someone slipping me an edible.
Oh, God.
I hate being high. I can't stand it.
Especially from an edible.
I know.
Like, that's too strong.
I've taken like too much of an edible before, and I was
It's
just
the worst feeling in the world.
It's fucking. You think you're dying.
It's horrible, and it feels like it's never going to end. Yeah.
So something you guys did probably miss, and this lands either directly on or way over the conspiracy theory line, I guess. There's so much crazy stuff coming about the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Okay, I ran into my stepdaughter. She goes, "You following this Charlie Kirk thing?" I was like, "I've had no connection to anything going on for a week now." And she just looked at me. She goes, "You got a lot of catching up to do." That's all she said. So really? I think you're about to get into it.
Well, there's content coming at you from every possible direction about this stuff. On one side of the spectrum, you got, they got the guy, and he's in jail, right? And then you got people that are like going over the timeline and the FBI's story about the guy that they caught and addressing all of these abnormalities about that person, what they did up to it, what they did after the event. And it can be explained to you in such a way where you're like, oh, this is fully a bunch of shenanigans. Like the FBI's lying to us. This doesn't make any sense. But that's before you get to things like people seriously analyzing where the event occurred, all of the different people in the crowds doing like hand signals to each other.
Yeah, I think right before we left, I had seen a little bit of that. I think it was just getting started.
What about the exploding microphone?
So here, let me
you hear about that?
One. Yeah,
No.
I got this. So
I don't know where I saw it.
One of those gags, like an exploding cigar.
It's like a bouquet of flowers. I got
They
you.
had the exploding pagers, if you recall, from
a
while back.
I think I see where you're going.
This guy will get into it.
Take a look at the lavalier. Check this out.
Oh, way.
If you want security, the Israelis know what they're doing. This is the Israeli company that went and grabbed the device or whatever it is, allegedly.
Here it is from the wide angle. Watch Charlie Kirk's right side of his T-shirt. Watch the lavalier lapel mic. Do you see it explode?
No.
Let's bring it in just a little bit closer. Watch this. Put it in a freeze frame. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that lavalier lapel mic. That went directly from Charlie Kirk's lapel. That went directly from underneath Charlie Kirk's white T-shirt up through his neck and created the exit wound that we told you was an exit wound immediately when we saw that exit wound. First.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
We don't need to dig too far into that, but it's getting crazy with the lack of information, leaving the door open for people to fill that void with all kinds of different crazy ass, stuff. So
it's almost like they want there to be a lot of noise, right? That there's just if we don't provide all the information, that'll kind of leave this space open for people to create conspiracy theories. And then because of the waters are so muddied, like we don't actually need to provide a lot of proof because people are going to have all these like opposing theories, and we can just say, well, there's all these theories out there, instead of being totally forthcoming and just saying, this is exactly what we have. This is what happened. I know you guys are asking about that plane that went off the radar and then came back on the radar. Like we just leave all that out because there's so much noise happening around all these like different weird theories, like the exploding microphone, that it kind of makes the FBI and the administration's job that much easier because they can just call it all noise. Even things that are legitimate that we want to know about.
Why would they want the populace in a state where they either believe exactly what the narrative is, they believe exactly the opposite of the narrative because they're wired the opposite direction, or they don't release enough information and leave the door open for people to be able to come to the table with all kinds of crazy different things? Why not release all of the information, be full frontal about everything, and have a meeting where they break down everything that happened? I mean, obviously people want to know this stuff. But
that's a great question.
While you guys were gone, I'm daunted by the prospect of going into these waters conversationally because it's not black and white. There's no real place to get a foothold logically on what occurred, because there is every conceivable thing being sold to you as though it's the truth.
I could think of a reason. So let's just say that the FBI is being 100% transparent and not doing, there was no fuckery. Everything was exactly as it seems. One reason that they might have to leave information out and not give us every single little detail about the autopsy and the round that they found and every little thing would be that
the round they didn't find.
If they're going to have a trial, they wouldn't necessarily want all this information out in the public because that would make it harder to convict the shooter.
He's pretty much nailed dead to rights, though. He admitted to doing it.
No, he didn't.
Did to his father.
When?
He turned himself in.
What I heard is that he sent a text to his transsexual lover.
Even though he's MAGA?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but have you heard him admit to anything?
No one's heard anything from him.
Exactly. That's my point. He hasn't. There is going to be a trial. He hasn't admitted. All we saw was a very, obviously doctored text message thread.
Well, he told his dad he did it.
How do we know that?
That's what his dad said.
Okay. Still haven't heard him say anything.
Well, no one's heard anything from him.
I know. That's my point, though. There has to be a trial to convict this guy. Mm-hmm. This guy might be claiming that he's innocent, but we don't know because we haven't heard from him. His dad says we think. Did his dad do a press conference? Did we hear his dad say that he admitted it to him?
I have no idea. I've been in the mountains for the last week.
Well, you seem to know what you're talking about. You told me his dad said that he did it.
That happened before we left.
Did his dad do a press conference?
No.
Okay, so I think that there's a lot that hasn't been resolved yet, and there's going to be a trial because he hasn't admitted to doing it. All we have is other people saying that he did it. And so if I'm taking the side of the FBI, one reason not to just put everything out there is that if you're going to go to trial, you need to have things. You can't let the jury be totally swayed by all this information that's out there. That would be one argument. I don't necessarily believe that. I'm obviously not on the side of the FBI in any situation ever, because they don't ever do anything good. They didn't even really solve this case, right? If he turned himself in, they didn't find him. He just walked into the police station and turned himself in.
I can't think of a single incident like this. I mean, they're still wondering. There's still a bunch of stuff about the Boston Marathon, FBI involvement. And another thing we're going to talk about is a report that came out recently. I think the Daily Wire's the organization that came to the table with it, but
that's weird. I was just the Boston Bomber stuff recently. I think yesterday while I was working, came across my radar, and again, just all these weird connections.
Really?
Yeah, the two brothers, their dad was married to someone like crazy high up in the CIA. I was like, what are the chances of that? So you're talking about these doors being left open, and when people, I want to talk about this later, of like, because we were talking about people that are resistant to conspiracy theories. I'm like, they're like, where do you like what's this infatuation with always generating these, let's call them alternative narratives to event X or this one, or you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, they kind of do it themselves, because when you take the first Trump assassination attempt, a guy, Thomas Crooks, it's like, how long was that in the news for? Like a day? 2 days? I'm like, someone just shot the president. And like, it seems like we'd be talking about that more. It's like, gone. Don't hear anything about the shooter. Don't hear anything about, his apartment was professionally scrubbed and all the silverware and everything was taken out of it. And you're like, that's what generates those conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. It's like, you guys are leaving the doors open, which I believe to be intentional.
I think so too. I think they want the doors open. The more conspiracy theories around it, the less they actually have to provide any sort of evidence, because they can easily just discount things people say as, oh, it's a conspiracy theory.
I think they bank on like the slow accumulation of like cognitive debris of just
yes,
leaving all this shit out here that people just go like, I'm still talking about this thing. And you're like,
very well said.
We're doing this other thing now.
Cognitive debris. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. I think that's why I think they operate that way, whether they're involved or not. They just operate that way because it makes their lives easier.
Mm-hmm.
In the process of trying to cobble all of this stuff together for, discussion here today, it really hit my memory of something that I went and looked up. William Casey, the former director of the CIA, has been quoted as saying, "We will know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false." And
where they hit that one out of the park.
Yeah.
But why?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. That's it's a good question that should be answered. Why? Like, so the intelligence apparatus of the United States' goal is to mislead
everyone about everything all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you think about if you can do that, what you're effectively asking people to do is not believe their own eyes and ears. And once you can do that, like, we are in complete control of every narrative at this point, which I think has been achieved.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about that a lot. We can get into it later, but of the way that objective reality is kind of not a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. He goes, it's pretty wild. There's nothing you can bank on to be truth anymore. I was like, yeah, it's insane. You can look at different sources. They're diametrically opposed to each other, and they've effectively gotten people to no longer walk out their front door and look and listen. Mm-hmm. They're going to believe they can perceive something with their own eyes and ears, observe it in reality, and they're going to circumvent that process and believe what they're being told from as Jake calls it, the man in the box, or the voice coming from the box.
I mean, why do you think people used to think the Earth is flat?
Did they? I don't think they ever did.
No?
Is that kind of a new thing?
Yeah. There's way more flat earthers today than there ever has been in history.
I don't know if I agree with that. some versions of history.
Yeah,
led me to believe that the entire world thought the Earth was flat until some like Freemasonic Jesuit dudes said otherwise.
Took a voyage. You got any break music queued up over there?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right.
Just because the campuses are quiet now, it doesn't mean that anything has really changed. We sink inside to think and find everybody knows the world is deranged. Now's been the time to get in touch with brothers, work at getting through each other's pain. Find another person standing in the open, trying to get on out of the rain. I've been looking for the people I can count on. I'd like to think that they can count on me. I want to be a part of Fred Hampton. I want to be a part of his purity. I met a friend I hadn't seen for 2 years. She's still trying to get news from her mother and her dairy. She's hungry to no end, but she wears her breeding like a noose. Now she wants to come to California after meeting me. I love to travel a horse. We got to talking about who we admire, movies, poets, our heroes. Pick the rock and roll star who wants to be a saint, but he only sees his guilt and what he ain't.
We did. We have someone dropped off a half-assed like Black and Decker pizza oven for making homemade pizzas. They're like, we don't even like this thing. I'm like, sweet, yeah, I'll take it. And so we made homemade pizzas. This was maybe like a year ago. I could take it or leave it. I'm like, it's all right. And I was like, and my wife was convinced. She goes, I think it's the oven is why they're not that good. I mean, they're good. Pizza's great. But
Homemade pizza?
Yeah, homemade pizza, homemade dough, everything. And so someone dropped off a real nice one while we were gone. The
People just drop off pizza ovens at your house.
Well, I got a sign out front. We have the nice, I think it's the uni, something like that, which is supposed to be like the nice one. And we did pizzas last night. Dude, world of difference.
Really?
It was one of the best pizzas I ever had. I made the white slice, and then I put hot links on it. It was one of the best pizzas I've ever had.
Nice.
Dude, it was so good.
So the oven matters.
Yes, it does.
So would you consider the pizza oven to be anything more than a broiler?
It is a broiler. Okay. And on that note, because what we did with these pizzas, they cook in like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you throw it in there, turn it around. It's only heated on two sides. So it's so hot that you put it in there.
You got to turn it immediately.
Turn it. Yeah, and it came out just like nice crispy crust, everything on there.
And when you say it's only cooked on two sides, obviously you got the heat coming from the top, and before you put the pizza in, it's heating up a stone.
Yeah, the stone. Okay. Yeah, you heat the stone up for like 30 minutes, and it's got a wall of flame on the back, and then on one side, and that's made so there's heat inside there. The stone's hot, and then you're kind of broiling two sides at a time. And then, since it was a broiler, I threw a New York strip steak in there, and it was one of the best steaks I've ever had.
Nice.
It like charred it on the outside, and it was raw in the middle, which is how I like my steak. Oh my god, dude, it was phenomenal.
I got to build another pizza oven. Yeah. I built one at my house on Hewitt, and then I moved it.
Yes, I remember.
To my other house.
Yeah, I remember trying to move that.
You didn't help me move it.
Oh, I'm thinking of the soda machine.
Yeah, that was a totally different story.
You knew better than to ask me to help you.
Yes, exactly. But that thing, I would get it up to 1,000 degrees to cook the pizza, and the pizza would cook in about 90 seconds, and you had to turn it also.
Yeah.
But the problem, 45 seconds sounds better, because the problem with 90 seconds is that's just enough time for you to, because you're usually cooking the pizzas as a party, right? Yeah. And there's people standing around. And so after about 30 seconds,
60 seconds, you're like,
someone,
you guys ever hear about Halcyon Ridge?
Right, exactly. Then you're like, oh, fuck. The pizza, like you burn them so easily because it's done so quickly.
Yeah. It says, so the white slice, you're supposed to use garlic powder. It's like it's an East Coast thing. It's just olive oil, garlic powder, 2 kinds of cheese. That's it. I use fresh garlic.
You got to use real garlic.
I use fresh garlic, and I smeared the fresh garlic on the outside of the crust. So like candied the garlic. Oh my God, dude. It was, and then
like that.
Just on a whim, I was like, I'm going to throw a hot link on here and see how that tastes. And it was like, this is one of the best pizzas I've ever had.
Was it just like one big link on like each slice?
Yeah, and I rolled up the dough.
Like so dude, that sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah, it does actually. But dude, the steak was phenomenal.
Nice.
I could not believe how good it was.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I got to build another one.
If I could pick one industrial grade kitchen appliance, it would be the salamander.
I was just gonna say, I think the one to get is a salamander. That's the one I was kind of researching it a long time ago. They said that's the one to get.
Yeah, industrial broiler.
Yep, that's the way to go. So another thing you guys may have
You know why it's called the salamander?
I don't.
No, I don't either. I just thought maybe you knew.
Okay.
Has to do with gerrymandering, I think.
That makes sense.
I've been using grok a lot. So
Right.
let's ask grok.
Grok,
Why is
marijuana.
the broiler called a salamander? We're doing this.
This is going to be exciting.
This is
Must listen radio.
There's a lot more words here than I thought there would be. So what you guys missed was digital ID coming to the UK.
Oh, I heard about this.
To where?
UK,
to the
right?
UK. Here I got audio for this one.
Today, I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of the... Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you...
I didn't add the music.
Is the dude speaking playing the keyboard?
This is, I don't know why.
It's a Klaus Schwab move. Like, do you got to dress like that when you give these speeches?
You can't do the music.
Like they want it to be creepy. Like it is creepy, but at a certain point, it's like you're just beating me over the head with it.
I know. I get it. Like, you don't need to add the music.
have digital ID.
Screaming.
It's as simple as that.
Now the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. A score in the 700s is considered good. Around the 500 mark is not. For now, the number is a sort of bank credit rating, keeping track of everyone's spending habits.
I think being ranked is a good thing. A society has to have rules.
It forces us to be well behaved.
It may seem scary, but it's just like that here. We're used to it, and anyway, we don't have a choice.
But in an effort to keep all of its subjects in line, Beijing is taking the system a step further in 2020. It's aggregating data gathered by banks, private companies, and the state to rate if someone's a good or bad citizen.
By using the most data possible, the so-called big data, the system will play an important role in rebuilding a moral society.
I believe that's from the film Their Agenda, Our Future, which is free online. That last snippet that you played, I highly suggest everyone check it out. Even if you're at work, listen to just the audio. It's phenomenal. It's creepy as hell.
So we all know China has been doing that for a while, right? That was from 2020. But you're saying now
UK is
adopting the same,
I think,
digital ID / social credit score.
And I think Vietnam just did it too and wiped out everyone's banking records. Basically, look that up, Jake. I think Vietnam is basically doing like a great reset.
The move is to run up your credit cards right before this happens.
Just jet skis and four-wheelers.
And you're like, all right, if I'm going to go on to CBDC, I might as well do it in style.
So, yeah, there was something that happened in Vietnam. Okay, so Vietnam has implemented a national digital ID system called it's an acronym for Vietnam Electric Identification. It launched in 2021 as part of a government project 06 for digital transformation. System provides electronic identification ID accounts, enabling secure access to public services, biometric authentication, and digital transactions. By mid-2025, all 62 million accounts have been issued to Vietnamese citizens, with daily app usage averaging 3 to 6 million logins, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Not a lot of information about.
It makes sense that the communist countries are doing this, right? China, Vietnam, England. Like it seems like appropriate that they would.
So what are your
anyone's
thoughts
going to do it
on
would be
not being able to work or transact, buy, sell, spend, earn?
My first thought is that there will be a black market for people that are not on this system but still continue to work, and people who want things done on the cheap, and they'll still hire you to do something.
Speaking of black markets, this is off topic, but we learned something that we were driving around. So where we're at is Six Rivers National Forest. There's these 6 rivers that kind of meander around. You come across a different one all the time. And our buddy Farley, who just is totally cued into the area, he goes, look at all that water down in that river. I was like, right on. Because there's usually not that much water in the river at this time. I'm like, oh, really? And we found out that because it's such a, that place is, it's in the Emerald Triangle. It's like huge grows. All the grows have disappeared. So there's tons of water in the rivers now, which was not there previously. Because everyone takes their water from the springs up in the mountains illegally.
Yeah, or straight out of the river.
Yeah.
Run hoses
but
down.
Most of them are up in the hills, taking it out of the springs. Yeah. It doesn't make it from the springs into the river, into the lake or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was wild. It totally makes sense, but I had never thought about that.
Yeah.
Because the whole industry up there has completely collapsed. Like while we're hunting, we'll come across just completely abandoned house. There's 4-wheelers, cars, there's TVs in the house. Yep. You know what I mean? Like there's
like hoop
middle of
tents,
nowhere with just nothing.
Like shredded plastic just kind of blowing in the breeze.
Yeah.
Where they used to grow.
It's like they would fill those places with we call them the trimmigrants. And it's like all these people will go there, realize they're not getting paid, and the last person eventually one day just left, and they just left the whole thing behind, which is great for hunting.
All right, so what's the details on this digital ID in England? Do you have anything?
What are you after exactly?
Like, have they announced it that we're going to do this now, or
Yes.
is it a proposal? Or
I think they announced it.
Is it happening?
I think they definitively said you're not going to be able to work if you don't have the digital ID.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I kind of cheated a little bit.
Okay. I have something similar. That similarly, it's not in the same vein, but
Something's
similarly
in
scary.
California, right?
Well,
yeah.
So as it pertains to the UK, from Grok, it says there's 3 phases: the initial phase, mandatory use phase, and then like future broader integration phase. So
That's how they do it, right? You got to kind of slow walk it into.
Anything you're launching.
What phase is it in now?
Well, it says initial phase 2026 to 2027. Voluntary adoption is expected to begin, starting with digital credentials like passports and driver's license accessible via gov.uk. Blah, 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 blah. Pilot programs may roll out as early as mid-2026 for specific services. The mandatory use for employment phase starts in 2029. Digital ID will be required for right to work checks when starting new jobs.
We have got to resist that coming here. Mm-hmm. Check this out. So I've played this guy before. His channel's called RJ Talks, but he's got this bit that I didn't hear about, probably because we were up in the mountains, but I haven't heard anyone mention it, and it sounds fucking wild. And he says something in here that I don't think actually happened, but pay attention to what he says about Kavanaugh in this clip that I'm about to play right here.
All of this. Else happened around free speech, something nobody seems to be talking about, happening in the background while none of us are paying attention. The bluest state in the country, California, just passed the most censorious bill ever to be introduced in this country, SB 771, passing the Assembly on September 10th, 10 days ago, then on September 16th, passing the Senate completely under our noses, which means right now, all that stands between complete statewide government censorship is Gavin Newsom's signature. Now, am I exaggerating about how bad this bill is? No, I am not. Here is the actual bill. You can pull this up yourself on the state's website. The bill's called SB 771. It's called Personal Rights Liability Social Media Platforms. In Section 2, Title 23 of the bill, it defines the penalties for breaking this new California law. If you post something on social media anywhere online that the state of California deems to be hateful, there's a penalty for that reckless violation a civil penalty of up to $500,000. For an intentional, knowing, or willful violation, a civil penalty of up to $1 million. That is the definition of the state controlling speech, folks, not what Trump just did. We don't like what the FCC chairman happened to say on Benny Johnson's show, but there's a huge difference between that and real government censorship. And what type of speech is California trying to police here? Well, let's read from the bill. It says, this bill protects against online harassment, particularly when directed at historically marginalized groups. Which means what? If you were to, I don't know, point out who the Kavanaugh assassin is, which we all just learned about. This.
Wait, what?
That's what I said. Do you know anything about that?
Brett Kavanaugh?
Nope.
Can you search up Kavanaugh assassin?
Yes.
Hey, I've heard nothing about this. I've
think
heard about this bill.
We would have heard that.
Yeah.
Right?
In this new court filing, if you were to say who that person is, would you be fined $500,000? Pretty frightening. All of this happening in the midst of the media and Democrats, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris making hay out of Trump trying to attack the First Amendment. Meanwhile, the state of California is actively passing UK-style laws that will fine you for saying the wrong thing. Pretty wild.
So just someone
Brett Kavanaugh assassination plot? Is that what?
Just do Kavanaugh assassination. Oh, was there a plot? Did that come up? So you will be fined for posting something that
someone else decides is hateful.
Yeah, particularly amongst historically marginalized people.
Mm-hmm.
So against white straight males, go ahead, fucking open season. But if that person happens to be
as long as I can hate someone online, just get this hate out of my soul.
Just gotta hate. I hate. I am programmed to hate. But God forbid if you post something that someone else deems hateful against a woman or a colored person or some tribe that's been historically marginalized, whatever that means, then you will be fined $1 million. So
I'm going to have to cash in on that 1.3% Native American. My 23andMe told me I was.
Dude, my wife sent me this, and she's like, all right, we're leaving California.
That's pretty wild.
So nothing on the Kavanaugh thing? What was he talking about?
My prompts are not giving me anything. So I type in Kavanaugh assassination plot, fine, and it's giving me just a lot of information about a specific case, not what it sounds like this is.
Yeah.
Weird.
Very weird.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming the rest of it's true, but that was kind of out of left field.
Yeah, I have seen something about that bill.
Because we've been checked out. She sent me that. I listened. She's like, got to listen to this. I listened, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, that happened while we were gone? But apparently not.
Typing in bill at the end of this prompt. On June 16th. Okay, hold on. Bill's passage.
Sean texted me, said, while you're playing Davy Crockett, the country is going to hell and nobody knows it because you're not telling them.
Yeah, let's dig in on this a little bit more. Try to get some good information. Gonna have to parse out a lot of crap, it sounds like. Tell me if you think this joke is funny.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
Actually, yeah, I do think it was kind of funny.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I got a chuckle out of it.
Is that that's what got him thrown off the air, right?
Yeah.
Is this why he lost his show? Did you hear his apology?
No.
It's fucking hilarious.
Really?
Well, he didn't.
Literally hilarious?
He didn't apologize. No, not hilarious.
You think he should apologize?
No.
No, he's a fucking comedian. They can.
I agree.
You're using that word loosely, but
Yeah, it's fair, but still, like I agree with Jake. Like he was making a joke. For him to get thrown off the air for that, I mean,
So
if
who threw him off the air?
Well, his company did, and his ratings were in the toilet. I mean, it makes sense. You know, if they're trying
dropped
to
37% in the last 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, if the
And
network
he's
is trying
making
to
like $30 million a year or something insane.
Yeah. If the network is trying to tell a large part of the country, like, hey, we don't, we also feel bad about Charlie Kirk. We're not, we don't hate conservatives the way that most of the media does. And that was the move they're making. I mean, that's their prerogative to do that. Had the FCC been involved in that, I think that's wrong. The government should not be censoring comedians, whether or not they're funny. And for him to make an apology would be, I think I agree with you, like inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like you make a joke, even if it's a bad joke, like fuck off. I'm a comedian. I can say whatever I want to. And I think Charlie Kirk would agree with me.
Yeah, I think the outrage about this is misguided, we'll say, because there's a board of directors at what is it, ABC? Yeah. And their job is to generate revenue for that organization. And if part of their duties is, you know, figuring out which way the wind is blowing in terms of what people are feeling and what their customer base is going to find appealing, and they decide that this is not it,
yeah,
they are well within their rights to say, hit the showers. Right?
Yeah, it's of them going, you know, this business model of, you know, ostensibly telling half the country to fuck off. It's not really working for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's their duty to do that. They would not be running their business appropriately if they didn't actually do that.
Absolutely. I may not have all the information. If the White House picked up the phone and called ABC and said, fire that man, that's not good.
Yes, I'm totally against that.
It's wrong.
Because we always flip it on the other side. Pretty soon, it could be President Newsom with these same powers. So it's like, is that what you guys want?
No,
like
no
that's
good.
That's a bad road to go down.
No, First Amendment stuff. You should be able to say whatever the hell you want, and the government is going to have to just eat it, right?
Mm-hmm.
100%.
I don't have a full field of vision on the outrage about this. It just sounded like people were taking his getting fired and turning it into this was like a political, crucifixion on this individual's part. And I don't see it that way. I don't think that the government should be impeding on free speech. And however, if I do something that my employer doesn't like, they're well within their rights to get rid of me. It's got nothing to do with the government. So I don't know. This is very minimal in terms of what happened when you guys were gone, but it's kind of turning into like a freedom of speech thing.
Yeah.
And they got that Lemon guy. What's the guy? Don Lemon?
Lemon.
Sorry.
You're thinking of Greg LeMond, the cyclist.
Here.
He's just Don Lemon.
Didn't he get run over or something? He had a
Greg
horrible
LeMond?
accident. Yeah, then he came back.
No, someone shot him with a shotgun.
Oh, is that what happened?
I think so.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah.
Then he came back, though, didn't he? Or am I making that up?
I don't know.
No, he's dead. Okay.
So
you have his bike.
I do. I have a bike with his name on it. I didn't shoot him and take his bike, if that's what you're referring to.
Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel, trying to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sure you've heard the news by now, but I've been going through the internet looking for the clips to see what they're mad or upset about, and I can't find it. These are I can't find it. The one that they have on there, I don't see where that's even controversial. The guy's a comedian. This is the same party, the same group of people who complained about everything is too woke. Comedians can't say anything anymore. They're killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about killing comedy are killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about canceling people are canceling people. What does that tell you? That they don't believe in anything that they're saying, that they've said, that they have no core. All it is if it doesn't fit their particular ideology or belief, then they don't want to hear it. And that's the moment that we're in now. This is a very dangerous and scary moment for America.
That brings up something that I actually think about quite a bit. Because
before you say that,
okay.
Do you have any idea whether or not this guy believes Jussie Smollett?
Well, it's ironic coming from Don Lemon to say something like that, but as much as I hate to admit it, I agree with him 100% about what he said. Yeah, I totally agree with him.
So that is, okay, so either the company fired him or the government fired him. Those are two different things. The company also could have fired him because the government told them to, which falls under the government fired him, right?
Correct.
Or they could have said, this guy is hurting our bank account.
Right.
We're going to get rid of him. Those are two completely different things.
But it seemed to me like he was more talking about the culture around this and talking about how a lot of talking heads want him fired and people in the government are saying he should be fired, or people with a conservative mouthpiece that have, a lot of reach are saying he should be fired. Like there's just this culture on the right that we're celebrating him being fired, which is contrary to everything that we were rejecting leading up to Trump's election, all the woke stuff. Like he's totally right about that. Like,
I mean, speaking for myself here, I consider myself a conservative, but I'm not considering myself a Republican at all. I don't definitely don't fall into one of those two camps. I don't care if Jimmy Kimmel gets fired or has a job or gets promoted or becomes the owner of ABC. I literally don't care. There's going to be people talking all the time, saying everything under the sun. And as somebody that's a conservative, my time is spent better than anywhere else than feeding into this trough of media and people. It's basically sports, right? There's no meaning to it. So the people that surround themselves with this kind of stuff and live in the shallow end of the pool in terms of they're saying this, I should be mad at them. We're on the trail that, we just finished up a week of millions of posts and videos of people literally celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I don't care. I don't care about what they're saying. They're going to say it. People are going to say everything.
Right.
The moral indignation that comes from, that's what this guy's career is all about, though. Don Lemon.
Yeah. But I think his
fucking Don Lemon. Can you guys fucking stop?
Don Lemon.
I think his point, though, that if you were complaining about woke activism and cancel culture, and now you want to see a guy canceled for saying something that was you thought was distasteful about Charlie Kirk, then you're a hypocrite. And he's absolutely right. Even though that was exactly his game, like he's just as guilty as anyone of doing that. But I totally agree. The move to, like, we're moving towards censorship. The powers of our government are latching onto this Charlie Kirk thing in a way that they're moving toward, they're trying to censor people. They're using this the same way that the Biden administration and the left activists did during the whole COVID and Summer of Love riots in the streets era were. They're using this stuff to try to take away our rights. And that attitude is just, I agree with him. It's horrible.
Yeah, I agree with what he's saying there, but I think a couple things. There's like something to kind of consider is that he felt compelled to go on there and make a video and post it online to his diminishing amount of followers. And that he's saying that, like, all of a sudden he's a free speech advocate. And I believe, I agree with what he's saying there. I was like, but where you had nothing to say during COVID, you had nothing to say of all the people getting thrown off Twitter. You were completely mum on Julian Assange, for example. These people were speaking freely and nothing. Like, all of a sudden you feel compelled, like, to be a free speech.
No,
I have a problem with that.
He's a hypocrite.
I had a discussion with someone who had a problem with this podcast, of us doing this podcast, because I was like, dude, we're just mostly fucking around. You know what I mean? don't take everything totally seriously. He's like, well, the problem is like everyone's just fucking around, as you say. And like
the problem is everyone listens to what you're saying and they take it very seriously.
And some people take it seriously. You know what I mean? That,
no, they don't.
Yeah.
Or they shouldn't.
But my response to him was like, that's on them. I'm sorry.
Totally.
I'm
Like,
sorry. If you can't.
Who do you think we are?
Yes. Or it was just podcasts in general.
Yeah.
I was like, so who should we be listening to? He's like, well, just like trusted, journalists and stuff. I'm like, oh, the people that got the Iraq war wrong and got COVID wrong and got Jesse Smollett wrong and got Yemen wrong and Syria wrong. Like, those are the people we should be listening to. That's what you're telling me. He goes, well, people make mistakes. I'm like, exactly. I was like, we can't, the point being, the core of this issue is we're talking about free speech. Should everyone be allowed to say whatever they want? I thought what Jimmy Kimmel said was pretty deplorable. And from where I stand, like, you're trying to paint this guy as a MAGA guy. Like, good luck with that. My reaction is always like, but just let him keep talking. I was like, if he's a total dipshit, like, that comes out. Sunlight's the greatest disinfectant. Point being, if you're talking about like censoring, like only certain people should be allowed to say certain things. Like, I don't think, if they fired him because like, look, your ratings are in the toilet, which they are in the toilet, and his contract's up for negotiation this year. They're like, this might be a clean break for us right now because we're hemorrhaging money with this guy with a show that like is getting fewer and fewer, views every year. I was like, but yeah, to your point, Jake, if the government called and like, take that guy off there, like, that is a bad fucking road to go on. I just believe that real freedom, we always say this, real freedom is messy. It's like, you're going to hear a lot of shit that you don't want to hear. And like, but that's how ideas are expressed. What we can't do, to go back to, to the friend I had that had a problem, this, like, we can't just have these podcasts talking about whatever they want. I'm like, why? He's like, well, maybe people don't have like the intellectual capability to distinguish like what's a joke, for example, and what's serious. Or sadly, there are people who get their news, their perspective from the world from the Jimmy Kimmel show. I was like, so they saw that and go like, oh yeah, it looks like the shooter was a MAGA guy, which is, as far as I can tell, clearly not true. I was like, but if what you're saying, the solution is that we completely structure society and what people can say and what they cannot say to the most feeble-minded among us. I don't want to live in a world like that. That's a terrible idea. Everyone should be able to say like whatever they want.
Yeah. It's Don Lemon is not the right messenger, but his message
trying
is
to get
actually
under my
pretty...
skin.
What?
Are you trying to get under my skin?
Sorry, Don Lemon, as you like to call him, is perhaps not the right messenger for his message because he was the worst offender.
It's fucking spelled Lemon.
Yeah, it's Lemon.
All right.
Where are the lemons? They're over there by the limes.
All right.
No, those are lemons.
Okay.
A couple more things here. Do you guys, back in 20...
No, hang on.
Okay.
We can get to the bottom of this.
Back in 2020, there was a guy named James O'Keefe that kind of showed up on media radar.
Yeah, Project Veritas.
Yeah, Project Veritas. And what he would do would be to catfish people, pharmaceutical executives.
Usually gay dudes.
Yeah.
It's the problem with being gay.
They never show. That's
you will. That is the problem. It's like you will do anything to get laid.
Oh, there's our episode title.
I haven't heard of James O'Keefe or Project Veritas at all in a while, but they honey trapped another dude who was supposedly a
name of American television journalist born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We are looking at how to pronounce Don Lemon. Don Lemon.
Oh, I stand corrected. The computer has corrected me. Well, by all means, let me make an apology to the world for mispronouncing that because a computer told me the right way to pronounce it. Forgive me. I'm sorry.
Jealousy is a nasty cologne to wear.
Wow.
Let's just put this date down in history. Matt went to the internet to prove his point.
You should go to the internet and prove him wrong.
All right. I don't know how to do that, but if I did, I would.
Okay. Right. There is an individual named Glenn Prager who is described as a former Department of Justice official. I don't know what that is. I don't know what his official position was. Maybe somewhere here in front of me, but there's a lot of words. But basically, it was about Epstein. It was about Trump. And this guy this is one of the investigators of the Epstein situation for the Department of Justice.
The Epstein situation. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. Good use.
Saga?
Child sex trafficking
It's just a
situation.
Basically, quotes, I've interviewed the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids and rapes occurred. But that can't be said for Clinton, and it can't be said for others. Who were they? Okay. The Department of Justice didn't
Hold on.
go...
Can I just dig into that just real quickly? He'd never been on a plane where Trump was on the plane and rapes occurred, but that was not the case for Clinton. Meaning,
and
others, meaning he was on a plane with Clinton and others where rapes did occur.
Yes, according to Glenn Prager, former DOJ official.
That's what I would take away from that. Wow, crazy.
The Department of Justice didn't go after Epstein because he's an asset for the United States and Israel.
Shocker.
It's not talked about yet.
I never would have thought of that.
But it's soon to come out.
Breaking news on the Liberty Free podcast.
A lot happened while we were away.
Yeah, it's kind of old stuff, I guess.
Turns out Epstein was a child rapist. Oh, my God.
So that's the latest from...
what does this have to do with James O'Keefe? So he got this guy
he's
to
the guy
admit
that honeypots either the gays or the straights.
Right.
And,
but he got this guy to admit that.
Yep. And it's on video. I mean, I could
Interesting.
pull it up here, but I don't know how long the video is. And
there's probably lots of like glasses clinking and.
That he was a CIA informant.
He was a CIA
Or he was a CIA. I think he's protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there, but he's protecting a lot of people. Because Trump's now saying it's a hoax. The case is like a hoax or something. I'm like, come on, you know it's not a hoax. He's been on the plane, many times. It's just he was never on the plane with the kids. I've seen the itineraries and I've interviewed all the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids and a rape occurred. But that can't be said for Clinton. That can't be said for others. While the Clintons were on the plane, while Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were rapes that occurred.
Overheard.
Okay. Shocking.
I'm kind of shocked that more people don't recognize James O'Keefe at this point. Some random guy coming up to the bar. He goes,
well, it's never him, right?
You work for Pfizer? Yeah. God damn, I tell you, we knew well before anyone else that vaccine was killing. Wait, you don't work for Project Veritas by any chance, do you?
No, I'm just a gay dude that wants to get laid. Come on, give me some more info.
But I'd like to hear about these whistleblower documents that you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think James O'Keefe is the front end for the whole thing. And maybe this will grow.
It's never James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
It's always...
I'm not attracted to him.
Yeah. Have you seen the guy? Come
on. Beyond that, we've got a shooting that occurred today in Michigan.
Really?
At a church. 1 dead, 9 injured. The suspect is now deceased. Some details here. It says 7 days before the shooting, the church restricted all transgender people from attending and called them child rapists. I've already mentioned the 10 victims, 1 confirmed dead. More confirmed deceased to come as they search the church, and apparently the place was set on fire, so as the fire dies down, a bomb was found in the truck of the shooter. Truck allegedly ran into the building. Roof of the church collapsed. Shooter was shot dead by the police. Sweep of the church is currently being performed. Shooter is 4-year-old, white male. Body has been recovered.
Another mega guy?
Yeah, sounds like it.
According to 4chan, yes.
Do you carry when you go to church?
No.
If you don't carry when you go to church, I think you're fucking up. I think if you go to church in the United States today, you should have a gun on you because churches are targets and it's especially after Charlie Kirk. There's warnings out there, and especially if your church bans trans people from attending it, you definitely need to be carrying the next time that you go to church. Yeah. I go to a very liberal church, so I'm not too concerned. I still carry there. Mm-hmm. And other people are doing the same. No one's going to call you out. It's legal.
No, there's a ton of people carrying in our church.
Yeah.
And we have security.
Yeah. Well, that probably deters anyone from actually shooting it up, but I'm sorry. If you're going to church these days in America, you should probably have a gun on you. When I'm in church, sitting through the first part of church that I hate, the whole time I'm just like planning out my route of escape and how to, whether or not to shoot someone. If a guy with a gun comes in from that door over there, like, do I shoot him? Well, people are probably going to like scramble out of the way, so it should be a pretty open shot. But he comes in the door behind me, then I got to put the wife on the floor and then turn and take the guy out. Like, I go through this motion in my head all the time.
Do you have a lot of people carrying at your church?
Probably not. There's a cop that we know that goes to the church, and I checked him out. I don't think he's carrying. He wears kind of tight jeans and a tight shirt, and I'm like, I don't see a bulge. I don't think he's actually. I mean, I saw a bulge, but not like for his gun.
For my gun.
So I get a little nervous. I'm like, no. Anytime I go to church, churches are now targets. Mm-hmm. I thought I saw a warning recently about that. Churches are targets. You should carry when you go to church.
I was thinking about that last time I was in church, actually.
You could get away with it at your church, even.
Oh, no one was saying anything.
You do have a CCW, but even if you didn't, you could get away with it going to church because no one's going to say anything.
No.
You guys are up to speed.
Got it. So what's the any sort of interesting backlash from this? What state was this in?
Michigan. This just happened this morning. So
how many politicians are calling for stricter gun control today?
All.
Right away.
We'll see what happens.
Clearly, that's the problem.
It's not the trans.
The track record, I mean, there's no mention of a manifesto yet, or maybe this guy's just off his meds. His face, name, everything about him is absolutely plastered all over the internet right now. So we've got Grand Blanc Mormon Church shooting suspect identified as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford. There he is. Whoop. Shit.
That's him?
That's him. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
It's kind of like a fun guy.
Just like a lemon taster.
He does look kind of MAGA, I got to admit.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's a trans man is yet to come out.
Ah, that's why he looks so fun. Oh, man. Well, Jake, thank you for welcoming us back into the real world. It's been a treat.
Absolutely. It's all just memes from here on out.